Hey, this is Notser, and today we're going to be talking about how much I loved 1 vs 1 Rank Sprint. The games in the background will be from said Rank Sprint, and they're the more notable games, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. But man, I was incredibly satisfied with the way 1 vs 1 Rank Sprint went this year. This was the first time that Wargaming has ever attempted to do this, and I think it was a complete success. I felt like all of the maps were nicely made to encourage players to play in close, and every class was represented at a tier 8 bracket, so it was a win-win for me. I got to practice a lot of matchups, I got to play ships that are normally not very relevant to the meta, but they are very relevant in a 1 vs 1. So I'm on board with 1 vs 1. I think that this is something that probably should be built into the game, so that players who want to play in a 1 vs 1 have an easier time of being able to fulfill that. It just seemed like it worked too well to ignore the fact that this game is built around matchups, especially dealing with your matchup. And yeah, sometimes you don't get the perfect matchup, but how you deal with it could be the difference between you winning that matchup and losing it. And that's great. You know, that's how the game should be. You get a benefit by playing certain ships and certain matchups, but it's not the decider. You still actually have to control the ship, and I just think that that's a great sign for the game. And I was able to kill that guy and actually turn the guns with AP and just blap him right in his stern area, his buttocks. We got the NC's butt. But 1 vs 1, it was incredibly successful from my point of view. I would love all of the maps to be represented with sort of a 1 vs 1 size. I think that Wargaming has done a great job of encouraging players to play close together, but also offering, islands and maps and familiarity to the player, but it's in a tight, compacted, and oh my goodness. We had that guy dead to rights. There's nothing he could have done there, and the only thing that I could have done is fail, and I failed so hard in that one. But the 1 vs 1 has been incredibly satisfying to me. I love trying to overcome bad matchups. I feel like that is the sign of a great player, when even in a bad matchup, they can pull out something that's near 50%, and in a bad matchup, in some of these, this is a bad matchup. For instance, the Prince Eugen should crush my face, and fortunately we actually knocked out one of his torpedo tubes. But any side angle that we show at all, he can punish, because we're the chappy. We don't have any armor. So all I'm trying to do is get close to him. This 1 vs 1, rushing was incredibly successful, and I think that rushing deservedly was incredibly successful, and we were trying to knock out the torpedo tubes on that side. This is the side with the torps out, and we unfortunately don't knock them out, but only one torp hits us. We're still alive, and all we have to do is land these 3, and it looks like we should be good. And yep, yes indeed, did not deserve that matchup at all. Oh yeah, here we go. Enemy Charles chasing down my aircraft carrier. He's doing what he should be doing. He's trying to get over to me so he can damage me. I've got angle, and I'm attempting to try and kill him, but this is really bad. He's going to try and get torps off, and he's, of course, going to shoot me. I don't know why. He's just shooting AP at an angled ship, but, whatever. But we're desperate, right? We're desperately trying to kill this guy, because one thing that was very apparent, whoever got the capture, and if they were able to survive the ram, even if they had a mutual destruction, they won the game because they start out with more points. So he knows that he has more points, and he's just going to ram me. But I actually survived the ram. Strat didn't work out there. We actually got the win. Now, here's an interesting one. We're in the Benson going up against the Fantastic. This is the tier 8 for the French, and in this matchup, normally, it should crush us. But I've got a trick up my sleeve. I know that main battery is an incredibly powerful win button against the DD in a 1 vs 1. And I want to take that win button away by baiting him to activate it. And when he activated it, I used smoke, and then I spent probably 5 or 10 seconds of the main battery, there's only 15 seconds on it, to make it be wasted. And he actually tried to blind fire in his smoke. It didn't work out. But once we knew His main battery was done. We then left the safety of the smoke and are actually going after and killing him. This is where I have the advantage in rate of fire. Now he's at the mercy of my ship, and we're able to dodge both torpedoes from the side. He would have to angle to send, and there's nothing he can really do. Yeah, he has good damage, but he doesn't have enough damage without main battery reload, and I really loved that this strat actually worked, you know. That's the other thing about this 1 versus 1. You can tailor your strategy to whoever you're going after. So you could start the game in an Amagi expecting a cruiser, and you might run into a lightning. And then how are you supposed to deal with that, right? Oh, but I shouldn't win this matchup. Yeah, but this is going to be a matchup that you have to deal with regardless of whether you should win it or not. That's the great thing about this, is it forces us to play matchups we don't want to and improve at it. And I did not feel like I had any chance, so I unload a little bit of damage, got 4K on this guy. He decides to pop his smoke. I know for a fact that the British smoke doesn't last very long, and as long as I don't get too close, I'm trying to stay away. We actually get inside of his hydroacoustic. As long as I don't get too close, he can't really go off of anything, and he actually breaks out of the smoke, thinking that I guess I was going to just run right towards him. And in fact, I was able to have my front guns fully reload, and our secondaries finished the target off. He didn't even get a torpedo off. He didn't even get a torpedo send-off. And, you know, the whole 1 versus 1 was just a real treat. And now, I don't know that having it be only rank sprint or have it never happen ever again is the way to go. I think that this just deserves to be its own game mode. Some sort of 1 versus 1 that may or may not have a seasonal characteristic to it where wargaming can move the tier of focus. I think that that would be brilliant, and, you know, have rewards appropriate for the effort expelled. You don't need to always grant a ton, but for me, this was fun enough that I would do it regardless of whether I got something from it. You know? And, man, this guy, he's a little shifty. He's hiding in his own smoke. I was trying to move forward. I expected, based on the smoke pattern, that he might have tried to double back, and I sent torps, and we actually landed a torpedo on him. And I'm just going to try and blind fire into the smoke, and we get 2 more K worth of damage, and he's spotting us, but we're not spotting him yet, and finally he pulls the trigger, but it doesn't matter, man. You're gone. You are absolutely gone. And I just like developing strats against my opponents that are handcrafted for the situation. I mean, here's a Tirpitz. Usually a Tirpitz is pretty intimidating, but I have torpedoes. And he has torpedoes too. So it's really who can land the killing blow in torpedoes, and he's trying with his average. I don't even know why. Why do you have AP loaded? I'm a DD. AP is not ideal against me. But regardless, we're trying to get into a rush zone and send torpedoes on cooldown. I fully expect him to do the exact same thing. And, oh, we got to dodge. If we take it, we're dead and we lose. But nope. We actually avoid the torps and get the kill and the win. Here's an interesting matchup. Cossack versus the Hipper. Now, the Hipper is not as strong as the Prince Eugen, but it's pretty strong in this situation. I did not expect to win this game. I did not think at all that I could win this game. I'm just merely trying to see if I can force the opponent to make a mistake. Now, he had Hydro up, but he's actually within detection range. And that's one other thing about the 1 versus 1 that was very interesting. It encouraged players to create their own. Oh, are we going to miss torps? Oh, this is horrible. We got to wait. Oh, no. He could just literally rush us if he has any knowledge of the way we work. Oh, this is bad. I also love that the 1 versus 1 encouraged unique builds that would never have been seen, save for a 1 versus 1 scenario. I just think that, yeah, it nailed everything that I was hoping it would be. Initially, the concern was that every class could play, so that clearly there's going to be an imbalance. But I just felt like, you know what, that was the best way to play this out. If every class could be played, then you got a chance to practice every matchup. And there was no stress or feeling of anxiety. There was no frustration with your player's decision, your teammate's decision, because you didn't have any teammates. It was literally on you in a 1 versus 1. Everyone was way more kind. The chat was a lot more positive, and I think everyone just in general enjoyed the whole experience. And man, isn't this a horrible matchup? I am in trouble. He has so much more health than me. All I'm trying to do is dodge the shells and load AP, fire, dodge left, dodge right. Please stop hitting me. I really need to kill you. Oh man, we don't have our smoke. We don't have any way of solving this problem. And I'm just like desperately trying to stay alive to the point where I could use my smoke. And we have done an admirable job, I'd say, in this one. And we're just giving ground because he should have hydro. If he has hydro, it should be on, and he should be actively trying to detect me in smoke. So I just need to try and use the smoke and keep it inside. And actually, he is falling for the bait because he can't see us. He can't aim at us. He can't be accurate. He actually thinks we're in smoke. This is great, but we're still very far behind, and he could have his hydro activated at any moment, see us, spot us, kill us. He also has target acquisition, another skill that doesn't get a lot of play, but in 1 versus 1, it's actually pretty awesome. And oh, he's so close to dying. He actually kind of blind fires. Oh, he detects us, but it's too late. And I was so proud of that. I couldn't believe I actually won that. This is the Charles Martel, the much better Wukong. And we are going up against the lightning, and I should be activating my main battery reload. Yep, there we go. So 1 versus 1 rank sprint. A huge success in my eyes. So much so that it needs a dedicated queue. I would love to be able to just queue into a game or two before doing something else, playing a couple quick battles, and going on with my day. I would also love to test matchups at a more frequent rate than you can in a random or a competitive or whatever. Co-op is nearly useless to me because the bots are so stupid. But because of this 1 versus 1, you're playing against players that could either be the best players in the game or the worst. And how you deal with it and how the situation comes together could create that variety that everyone craves when you play a video game, especially multiplayer. You know, every situation is slightly different, and I love that about it. And I love that about this 1 versus 1. I love that every class was open. Initially, I wasn't sure, but I thought it was great. Playing a weak matchup is a really important skill to improve, and this gives you the perfect chance. No stress whatsoever. You know, if you fail, guess what? You just get dumped out of a quick queue. Big deal. You don't have to blame any teammates for going AFK. You don't have to blame teammates for team damage. There's none of that. It's just you against one opponent. You both are trying to get a victory, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be something that is live or die. You know, it's just a fun experience, and I think this game desperately needed this. And I would love for Wargaming to take the success from this and to better integrate it into the game. It just gave me everything I was hoping for, and more. I didn't think that this was going to be this fun. I thought the players would cheese the crap out of it or do really boring, but you know what they did? They created some crazy builds that are not viable in any other mode other than 1 versus 1, and crazy scenarios that very rarely happen, but we got to see them, and that was the best part about it. So Wargaming, please add this into the base game, and please develop it more. I would love to play through all of the different tiers and all the different matchups. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to check out more of my content, you can click the most recent or the most relevant uploads. You could also choose to subscribe to my channel. We do daily World War videos, first impression how-to, news, and review related. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. You can take advantage of that. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.